Hey guys, it's Eric at SideQuest Comics, and today, well, I have a bit of a potluck comic surprise for you guys. I have been going through my piles and cleaning and rebagging and filing some of my books that I've gotten over the last, I'd actually say 3 months. And I have little staging areas of, it's like, okay, I need to get a new box for this, or here's some new comics I just got in, I got to file them in. And I was going through some of those piles and I found a whole bunch of comics that I thought would be good for on the show. I haven't featured them yet. Um, yeah, I don't think any of them I featured yet. You may have seen them on the wall behind me. And I think that's what got me thinking of, hey, I've never showed this one, or, I just picked it up. So I am going to jump into some of these books. And because I got, as you can see, a pretty big stack, and we'll just go through these and then I can put them away when we're done. So this first one I'm going to jump into, I just picked up recently. I think I'm trying to remember if this was part of the Black Friday sale, and I just forgot that I got it because, I did show a Black Friday sale video. But yeah, this one I got is Giant Size Man Thing. Now, I saw this on their wall of books, and I was kind of like, well, if I don't get that now, I'm going to come back in 2 days and it's not going to be here. So this Giant Size Man Thing #1, this came out in 1974, and it has actually multiple stories in it. It has a couple reprints, but this main story, the cover is by Mike Plug, a pretty cool cover, written by Steve Gerber, and it pits Man Thing against the Glob. And this is a 68-page giant size Man Thing. Like I said, a couple stories with, let's see, I think I wrote them down. One was a reprint from Amazing Adult Fantasy #11 by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. The other one, Strange Tales 67 by Jack Kirby. And then another one with Jack Kirby artwork, and I think he did the plot, Tales of Suspense #15. So these were all reprints, but the main story was Man Thing with some pretty cool art. I've got a bunch of Man Thing, and I love the 70s monsters. You guys that are out there, you other content creators, are kind of influencing me and taking note of some of these books. I've been currently doing Ghost Rider and Dracula and Werewolf by Night, and of course now Man Thing. Like I said, I have his second volume series, but not a lot after that. So yeah, I'm taking notice of them. Thanks, guys. Second up, we have this is a facsimile, and it's a foil. Hopefully the foil here. If I go on a weird angle, you guys can see it. This is Omega Man #3. It's a reprint. And I got this because I recently started rereading some of my Lobo books. I've gotten a bunch in the dollar bins, and it just made me, I don't want to revisit them. So this is his first appearance, unnamed, have you? And this is the first appearance of Bedlam. Now, another reason I wanted to get this is the art was by Keith Griffith, who actually just recently passed away. He brought us Lobo. He brought us like the Blue Beetle. He did a lot of stuff in the 80s with Justice League that really were standout moments. Brought us some new characters, and just he kind of brought, I want to say, almost like a lighthearted, almost comedy to these superheroes, which I think was something needed in the 80s. The 80s kind of started turning a little too serious and dark. Now, granted, Lobo's pretty dark and violent, but it has that sarcastic humor to it, which I think we needed. And like I said, this was a foil. Originally, the original story of Omega Man #3 came out in 83. So this is what, 10, 20, 30, 40 years later that this originally came out. My math could be off. I'm just off the top of my head. But yeah, that's kind of a cool one. I've been staring at this one for a while. Sticking with DC and with reprints, facsimiles. This one is, I had to get this one. I'm a big fan of Green Lantern. So this is a reprint of All American Comics #16, originally a 1940 comic. And this was the first appearance of Alan Scott Green Lantern. And it cracks me up is like when I looked this up to see like originally when it came out and stuff like that. Where is it? Right here, $6.99. Okay, so that's today's prices. Originally, this was 10 cents. So I was just like, yeah, I want to get this. And, you know, it's got some neat 40s art, and why not? It's a piece of history. I can't afford the original, so let's get the facsimile. And another one that I had to get, and now this one they had a foil, but I didn't want to get the foil. I got the Wonder Woman reprint of #1. Now, originally this came out in 1942. Art by Harry G. Peter. I mean, that's some classic art that I had to get. I'm not a huge Wonder Woman fan, but I do like her. You think of the Trinity, her, Batman, Superman, when it comes to DC, they're all, I like them all. They're not my favorites, but I do like them. And I mean, I left this one open. Actually, I mean, look at that. That's a beefy comic. What I like is that they reprinted this, you know, original ads in there. Look at 1940, what did I say, 2? But yeah, it gives you a little bit of history because she's got some ties with the Greek mythology. And I mean, look at this classic box art of Wonder Woman from the 40s. They didn't really do a lot of big splashes back then. Here's some ads for the original Flash, some Alan Scott Green Lantern. But yeah, it's just kind of neat to revisit this stuff. I guess this was the splash page. And the way they wrote these back then was like, you know, chapters. So that was kind of neat piece of history. Yeah, it's got some ads for All-Star Comics. And I noticed that some of these older comics, it was, you know, more than just the main story. They kind of had some shorter stories in there. So that was Wonder Woman #1. You guys can still find this. I know, like, my comic store has like a whole section of just these old reprints. So sticking with DC and Wonder Woman, I got War of the Gods. This was a series I've been trying to look for a while since they started reprinting them. And I got actually the collector's edition. I got this all in one set. Collector's edition has these like little mini posters in here. I'll show you 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, this is George Perez classic stuff here, guys. This is from 1991. I got issue 1 through 4 of the series. So I got the whole series, which I like. I didn't have to track them down. But I got #1. Here's #2. #3. And #4, of course. And let me show you some of the posters. I mean, here's a poster of Superman. As I drop the comic. And then we got Black Adam and Flash in here. So yeah, I don't think I was really into DC at that time. So I missed out on this. I think I got into DC probably just after this came out. I was getting Captain Atom and Lobo came out. So I missed out on this. I've been wanting it a little bit. It's classic George Perez stuff. So that's War of the Gods 1 through 4. And then we're going to Marvel. Now, I forgot I got this until I started digging through these piles and putting them away. But I have, it's Hulk Volume 3. And this was originally, it's 11 issues, but it's not Bruce. It's actually Jennifer. So this is the She-Hulk in this series. Only lasted 11 issues. It's from 2006. And this is actually She-Hulk after the Civil War events. She had some things happen to her. She actually was fueled by rage and anger, and she actually kind of turned into, for a short time, into a Gray Hulk. This was one of those instances of I saw this cover, and I'm like, that is a really cool cover. I want to get it. So it's the only reason I picked this up. I thought it was a cool cover. I'm a fan of She-Hulk. I like this She-Hulk where she was just very action oriented. And I know there's a couple variant covers from this series I wanted to get of her fighting Laura Kinney Wolverine as a nod to Wolverine's first appearance in Hulk. So yeah, Hulk #1, 2006 with the She-Hulk. I don't know why they didn't just call it She-Hulk. And then some random Daredevils I picked up. I think I picked these up in a Whatnot sale. They were cheap. Nobody was bidding on them. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool cover. And I know it's a key. I mean, this was a funeral of Elektra. This is 182 from 1982 of Daredevil. Written, drawn, Frank Miller. Yeah, and this is just, it's a classic, iconic cover. So that's kind of why I wanted to get it. It wasn't super expensive. I think I paid maybe $2 for it. Like I said, nobody was bidding on it. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to bid on this. It's a reader copy. It's not perfect, but it's good to have in the collection, I thought. And here's another one that I got for Daredevil. It's 184. Now, the key of this is the first time Daredevil teams up with the Punisher, hence the Dirty Harry cover. This came out in 1982 also. Frank Miller wrote it, art, all that kind of jazz. And yeah, another one to put in the collection. I like this cover. I've always saw this cover up on the wall of books, and I thought it was a neat cover. And I mean, it's got a color break right there, but I can always upgrade if I wanted to. Okay, and then finally, what I have to go with my Marvel Superheroes card that I recently got from my buddy Brandon, I have some Moon Knights. Now, I came across a bunch of these in their just normal comic bins as one of my local stores. And I was kind of like, you know what? It's another instance. I can't afford his first appearance. Let's get his first series. So this one generally can go for pretty high prices, but this is not one of those. This is a very loved copy. I think this was like $10. Wasn't that much. But it's from 1980, his first solo series, written by Doug Monek. And let's see if I can say this right. Art by Bill Sienkiewicz. I think I said that right. I had some help on this one. I got a little note sitting up right in front of me. And this is the origin of Moon Knight. And then we also get the first appearance of Bushman and the first appearance of Khonshu, who's, the god that brought Mark Spector, back from the dead and made him into the Moon Knight. So, yeah, like they say, premiere issue. Yeah, nice pickup for the collection. I'm a fan of Moon Knight. And like I said, I kind of rated their Moon Knights, and they had a #1 of the Fist of Khonshu Moon Knight. Now, this is officially his volume 2. It's kind of weird, and I'll explain this in the next one that I got. So this one came out in 1985. I don't think this one lasted as long as the volume 1, but I mean, it's the first appearance of his new costume. I don't know if you can see that. They added some gold. So he actually got a different belt, and they added some wristbands on him and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, where he was kind of just a plain Jane white cloak and costume. So that's, yeah, a new beginning. And then keeping with the theme, Mark Spector Moon Knight #1. This one came out in 1989. And this is Chuck Dixon, Carl Potts. 60 issues is what this one went for. Now, here's where I think is weird. This isn't considered volume 3. Volume 3 came out in like the 90s. But this one is volume 2, even though it's Fist of Khonshu. It's still considered just Moon Knight, and this one is not. So I don't know. I whatever. This is the one I remember as a teenager, was this Mark Spector Moon Knight. They had some really cool storylines of this. And as a matter of fact, I picked up a couple random ones from this series for like $1. I mean, I got #2. I got #5. And I got #13. And I got a #14 with the Bushman right there. So, yeah, this is one of those volumes. I had it. I don't know what happened to it as a kid. It kind of disappeared on me. So, yeah, I figured they were cheap. I'll pick up some of these. Hey, I don't have a bunch of these #1s of Moon Knight, so I'll grab all these. I didn't pay a whole lot of them for them, so why not, right? But that is all I got for you guys in this. Like I said, I'm calling it my potluck of comic books. Since I was doing a little bit of cleaning and reorganizing, I found a bunch of these books that I'm like, hey, I haven't featured these on the channel yet. So let's go ahead and show them off. See what you guys think. Do you guys like any of these books? Which ones were your standouts? Do you guys have that happen to you where you buy books, you pile them up and you forget about them type of thing? Now, a lot of these I have read in the past. So this was one of those, I used to have them. I wanted to get them on my collection or just for collective sake. I mean, like the giant size Man Thing. I've been wanting to get that one, or the first appearance of Lobo. I've been I probably can't afford the original, so let's get that one, I guess, right? But leave me a comment down below what you guys think about that, and make sure you click that like icon. Give me a subscribe. I really appreciate the subscription, and comment down below what you think about this hodgepodge of potluck comics that I found while organizing. And while you're at it and clicking, don't forget to head over to Instagram. You can check out my stuff on Instagram. And that's all I got for you guys today on this video is just a big pile of stuff that I was like, hey, look at all these random cool comics. Let's show them off. So until next time, guys, when you guys are going through your stacks of comics and organizing and putting them away and you find that hidden gem that you forgot about, happy questing, and we'll talk to you next time, guys. Boop, boop, boop.